All right, one more time. Give me a check.
Check 1, syphilis. Check 2.
I wish more people did syphilis as a sound.
Wait, isn't that what it is? I was like, what was that movie that he was it Chris Farley? Right? Didn't he do the sound check? I don't know.
Syphilis.
I just always use it.
Syphilis.
I don't know where I heard it. Maybe it was Wayne's World.
It might have been, yes.
I think
It actually
Wayne's
was,
World,
yeah.
and it might have been. You know who it was? It was Tom Hanks as the roadie for Aerosmith. Is when I think he did it. Wow! I can't believe I just pulled that out of my ass. I just like.
We'll need to
I think
fact
that it
check
was.
that
I think
one.
it was. Go ahead, feel free, and I'll totally admit that if I'm wrong. But I want to say it was Tom Hanks, and he was the roadie for Aerosmith on the Wayne's World skit.
Oh,
and that'll be it for me today. You know what? I should just,
I can't get better than that.
I should just drop the mic and be like, all right, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going to be any better than that.
That's all I'm contributing.
That's all I got.
All right. We are in the what city?
The Collar City?
Very good. I'm
Ooh,
impressed.
2 for 2 today.
There you go.
God damn. I can swear on here, so don't feel bad.
You can swear.
Yeah, no, I'm like, we got new people on, obviously.
Yes. Are you guys...
Some people would be uncomfortable, but we can tell them we're like...
We're not fucking
FCC,
happy with any swearing.
There you go.
Please
FCC is
don't
not
ever
gonna come
fucking
down.
swear.
Right. FCC is not going to come like down like Thor, which I watched yesterday, by the way. I watched Endgame.
Did you?
I couldn't get through all of it. It was like 9 hours long.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, I was like, okay, I got other stuff going on. I can't really devote like literally 5.5 hours to watching this freaking movie.
Is that part
And it
1 or
was
part
good.
2?
I think there was
Endgame.
only one part.
Oh, really? I thought Endgame had like 2 parts.
It does.
Oh, well then I don't know. I don't know what I did. Like I said, I gave up. I gave up like 2/3 of the way
It's
through.
probably
I'm
because
like,
you didn't watch
Doesn't
the
it sound
first
like
one.
Endgame should only have one
I
part,
don't
though? It's like the end game.
That
Like,
might be the last one, right?
maybe, I don't know.
I thought
don't
it was
watch
in.
the
You know what?
Avengers.
I don't know. No.
What is it? Infinity War and then Endgame.
Yes,
that's how it works.
That's
Yes,
what it was.
that's it.
Okay.
It's Infinity. I've now watched Infinity War all the
So
way.
it's like a part
through, I
2
think.
parts.
Oh well, it's not a part 1 and part 2. They're
Well,
actually
you know what I'm saying.
two different movies.
Yeah, well, no.
But
I
they
mean,
have the same thing. You know, they're the same same thread or whatever it is.
Same-
Where the
same
last one-
storyline.
Same storyline. That's it. Thank you. Somebody
where
smart
Infinity
said it.
War stops, Endgame picks up.
Exactly right there too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
So it's like part 1, part 2.
You're right. Okay.
To be continued.
Not like Rambo 1 and 2 where it wasn't.
No,
Wait,
not at all.
I don't know why that popped in my head. Rambo. Somebody at work
Very
was
similar
talking
movies,
about it.
yeah, similar
Yes.
plot
Okay. Yeah.
points.
Same genre.
In the first movie, he's like in Colorado. In the second movie, he's in Vietnam.
He's in a prison. He's like in a prison.
He was in a prison, yeah.
work gang or whatever. Yeah, breaking rocks.
Which I don't get, because in the first one, didn't he just like walk? He finished walking through the town, which was all he was trying to do, was like go through the town, get some lunch, and
Yeah, he wanted to go into town. I don't know what his plan was prior to that because I mean, like, I'm pretty sure he got a ride through town to the other side and said, "Here you
Yeah,
go,
get out of here."
Here you go." And he's like,
nope. Let me just
Now
tear
it's
down
on
your
principle, and now I'm going to kill everybody.
Is it raining outside?
Oh, yep. I think I closed everything. Yep.
Oh, it's kind of pretty though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This is the most ADD long intro I have ever done.
Oh,
in
we
my
haven't,
life.
we haven't even got the people yet. This probably
Totally gotta get worse.
Is this going to make it? Yeah. We haven't even gotten to the intro yet. Maybe
All right.
We should think about it.
We are currently in the Collar City, Troy, New York, at a brand new bar. And we also have a gentleman who is joining us, who I've kind of teased in the past that he and one other person was going to be on. But so far, only one half of that team has made it today. That's all coming up in the next few seconds.
The Capital Brew Podcast with 20 North Dave and Nick Lee. What's brewing in the 518?
All right, Dave. Here we are in the Collar City at the Whiskey Pickle. We're joined by James and Aaron, both owners, and believe it or not, small little trivia. Yeah, tidbit.
All right.
They're my neighbors.
Yeah.
Shut that front door.
Yeah?
See, I try to be good.
You didn't know that, did you?
How? Of course I didn't know that. It's the first time I met a member. Was I
Surprise.
supposed to know, like, like walk in, hey, you guys are neighbors?
You guys look like you would be neighbors.
Yeah, right. I should have
We
figured. You know
look
what?
like
Damn
we
it! I should
live
have
near
figured
each
it out.
other.
Which looks like nothing like the rest of our neighborhood.
This is true, though. Yeah.
We have all of our teeth.
Terrible.
So far.
So far, I'm not so sure.
I
about
might cut that
myself.
part out. But, yeah, so it's funny. I didn't know we were neighbors either until I was sitting right there, and Jess is like, I think that's our neighbor. I was like, where? And then James comes over, and he's like, hey, aren't you our neighbors? And I was like, what, us?
Serendipity. You know, it only took 2 years for us to, like, you know, talk to each other. You know, 3 houses is a lot of distance.
Yeah,
But,
Yeah.
especially in our neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, there's some interesting houses between us.
Yes, there are. Were you guys home last night?
No.
No.
There was a nice little fight. There was a nice big party going on
Oh, yeah. I did.
between us.
Wait, no, I heard a lot of extremely loud music.
And then
I
there
wasn't
was-
sure where it was coming from.
And then
Well,
there was
maybe it
a
was you
lot
guys,
of
but-
loud screaming after, and slamming of doors, and calling of names, and somebody telling somebody else to walk home.
Oh, family parties are just so fun.
Yeah.
Always goes well.
But yeah, we got another guest today. Gaz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I have a tidbit as well. I'm also your guys' neighbor. I'm in between those houses you're talking about. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
Next to the church.
You're the one that was told to walk home. Yeah.
It was me. Yes, that's right.
Now, Gaz used to be a area radio. I want to say DJ, but you had a talk show on ESPN Radio. Jeff and Gaz.
Yes. Dare I call sports broadcast? Is it a different term, right? DJ play records. And
Yeah.
Sports guy talk sports. Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, I was with 104.5 the team, Levac and Gaz, and now I've kind of ventured off into the new world that is 2021 with media and everything else.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I seen you did a post yesterday, and I didn't realize it, but you actually not have just one podcast, not two podcasts, not three podcasts, not how many podcasts you got?
Yeah, we've got 9 podcasts now through Godzilla Media. Over the last week, we've had launch week, so we've added 10 contributors, 8 podcasts, so a total of 9 podcasts, 7 new sponsors. It's been pretty wild. That basically I call myself an old school radio guy, even though I'm fairly young, relatively speaking, in the industry, and I took advantage of young, talented people looking for opportunities to continue doing what they're doing, and sponsors and local people here continue to want to hear what was going on. So I've been very fortunate that Godzilla Media is offering people your message, your story, your way. Business owner, athletes, coaches, media members have all kind of come over, and I'm excited for the future.
Oh, I thought that was a hockey buzzer.
Sorry, that's our beer cooler.
Yeah. We haven't named it yet, but we probably should. But it's old.
It's old and, loud. Sorry.
Like my grandpa.
All the best things are. Anyway, explain this to me. So do you have, is it your equipment? You're going to all these different people and doing it, or do they have their own equipment? How does that work?
So my setup's a little bit different. So I use this streaming service basically where I record both video and audio through the same thing. So when I started, COVID was still a little, okay, I don't know if we can be out in public. I don't know who can do what and where we have to wear masks. So everything's remote.
Okay.
Everything's remote. I think 95%, I think only one podcast has gone live so far. Everything else is taped from their house.
Awesome.
If they have a co-host,
Yep.
They basically stream it. They take the audio, they take the recording, they send it off to me, and we're good to go. So I haven't done a live setting like this with people in about 5 months. So I'm enjoying hanging out with you guys. I'm used to this. I'm not used to the podcast with people being over computers and stuff.
Are you used to drinking beers with pickles in them?
No, I'm used to drinking beers, but the pickle beer caught me off guard, and I definitely enjoyed it because somehow it's already empty.
Yeah, it looks like you need another one.
Explain to us how that idea came about.
Do you want to tell the story?
Sure, I guess I will. Well, our friend brought her mother in here, and she told us that she thought it would be cool if we put pickles into our beer, which initially I was kind of like, what are you talking about? But our friend's husband, Chris, he came in and he just basically workshopped it for us, did some R&D, and drank probably 8 different versions of pickles and beer with some pickle brine, and he figured out what worked, which is Utica Club with spicy pickle brine and a pickle spear.
Sounds like somebody's using our tactics to get free beer.
You think so?
Yeah.
But wait, I have a question though. If this place is called Whiskey Pickle, and then you said you did it after you opened, how did you have a name for this place if you hadn't done the pickle trick in the beer yet?
Well, yeah. Apparently, the chicken came before the egg.
That's a perfect analogy, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pickles are a part of the DNA. I mean, I don't honestly. I don't even know how it started. We were just shooting the shit one night, coming up with bar ideas, and throwing around names. Like, you throw around band names. Like, well, we started throwing around bar names, and but we like pickleback shots, and kind of thought maybe there was something to it, and we tossed around the idea of a whiskey bar, and kind of. It all just came together and just kind of like made sense to like theme it around pickles, because we also needed to have food, but we didn't want to have a kitchen, and we knew we wanted to kind of keep the operation, the food operation, pretty minimal. So pickles are kind of one of those foods that you can just keep around for a really long time, and we figured that maybe we could do a combination of whiskey and pickles and incorporate that around the whole menu, and that's kind of how we landed here. But now it's kind of now pickles are the inspiration for other things. So we're putting pickles in everything, basically.
Yeah.
For example?
We
Don't say orange juice.
No.
So the pickle grenade is
Yes.
the new one. That one is well, maybe we can do it a little bit later on, but it's a fun adventure that you get to actually participate in the drinking of your beer. It's you won't actually get blown up by the grenade, but like the next morning might be bad.
I was hoping to show up in an actual pickle costume, if that's okay with you guys, and just stand outside so I can be a part of the pickle culture.
Yeah,
if that's
guys,
fine.
Can you
Definitely.
please do that? Stand on the corner and do a little dance or something.
Obviously, I'll expect to be paid very handsomely for that. But
Do you accept Utica Club as payment?
oh, you're a good negotiator.
We thought about going after tax season's over, which is today. The people that wave the that dress up like the Statue of Liberty.
Yep.
For HR Block are going to be out of a job, so maybe we could get some of them.
Yeah.
Be a lot of free, a lot of cheap labor.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Right. Stand on the corner, wave around some pickles.
The union's weak. No, without that.
So it's a funny. I noticed out of just a straight observation. Obviously, Gaz likes beer and pickles. Dave likes beer and pickles. I like beer. Gaz likes beer and pickles mixed together. Dave does not, and I don't like pickles at all. So it's funny.
It's gonna be a tough one for you.
Yeah. Well, it's just a funny observation that there's 3 degrees of how that works.
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 3
Yeah.
degrees of pickles.
I thought it was 6 degrees.
It is.
Ooh, is it 6? I thought
But
there
now
was
it's the new
7.
commercial is 12. So now they're throwing out numbers left and right.
Yeah. All right. That completely just ruined the momentum of the
Sorry, we killed it.
Sorry you don't like
Well, do
pickles.
you want to take this momentum break for another beverage, guys?
Yes, thank you. I don't know what I have to do. I'm just going to
Well, actually-
away. Yes.
Dave and I have we kind of have this flow when we're working with breweries. It's always your crowd pleaser, your heart and soul, and your newest drink.
And that could be somewhat translated over to these guys. We got to get. We usually give people a heads up so they actually don't. They're not really on the spot like we just did right now. But usually we give them a heads up. But I mean,
they were here 10 minutes
I'm
early.
sure they can figure it
and
out.
I've already gone over this with them.
So what do you want to start with?
Well, I know their newest drink. Neither one of us are going to drink.
Wait, well, we don't necessarily know that. That's not necessarily true. You're making assumptions.
That's not true. They told me.
Oh well, all right. Then. You win.
But
You totally win.
what would you say your most favorite crowd pleaser? Like, what's the one drink that everybody comes in here and raves about?
Probably the Manhattans.
A lot of people order Manhattans. It sounds kind of boring and standard, but people really love Manhattans, man.
Is that separated from anything that you guys came up with? I mean, is there anything that you guys done to it to make it a little bit your own?
Just to use the right combination of ingredients. I mean, there's only a few ingredients that go into a Manhattan, and there's a bunch of different variations of those ingredients that you can source. So we tried a whole bunch of different combinations and landed on one that seems to resonate, and we love it.
I'm looking right here. I got the menu in my hand. It's not like I'm testing you or anything. It says Overholt Rye, and I recognize the bitters and the cherry, but it says Punte May. Is that how you say it?
Punte Mace.
Punte Mace. Do I assume that that's sweet vermouth?
You are correct. Yeah.
All right, because I've only time everybody knows Martini and Rossi.
I don't speak Japanese.
That's pretty much that's pretty much vermouth. I don't know, Puname. No, whatever. I don't know, but I'm just asking. Now we got off subject.
Watch your mouth.
But that was okay. I didn't realize that. Is that a brand or is that like the? It's a brand. I'm assuming of Sweet Vermouth. Right.
The label, yeah. I can't say for sure whether or not it's the umbrella brand, I guess, but yeah, it's.
All right. I was like, I had to recognize.
Let me grab
else.
a bottle of it.
Are we going to try?
There's not a lot of pressure.
Are we going to try and sample this?
Well, I mean, we don't have to drink a whole one, but yeah, we can.
No,
we usually
do
sample
Yes.
their most popular drinks. I mean, why should we change?
Yeah, and I feel like you guys are being modest. There is something you guys added to this Manhattan you didn't mention. It's love.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say.
that's the most important ingredient.
Goodness.
So much love.
You're right.
I
did
really
leave
wish
that
we had
out.
the little buttons there with the music. You needed to be on that one. Whatever. It's too late now.
It's too late.
Yeah, you don't stop looking for it.
Here's something we can do. So when we're talking about putting a new Manhattan on the menu, that we, depending on whether or not we can get the ingredients.
You need the you need the crowd where the crowd goes not the freaking. Not,
Do you want me to do it for you?
I should have been quick and I should have been on that.
Sorry, I also killed your momentum.
Yeah, now he's trying to explain something. He and I are blowing it up totally. I thought we were going to do a bomb later. No, that wasn't it either, but whatever. You're trying. Try again there, buddy. Door number
I don't have
3.
that.
Okay. I bet you do. Something like it. But
I got
anyway,
this.
that's okay. Boy.
Hell yeah.
That was a long one, if that was one of those things.
I held it for a little while.
Oh, you did? All right.
I'm on a sitcom or
Good job.
You have
See,
the
that's a
Seinfeld
good one.
bass. You gotta have
That's
the
a good one.
Seinfeld bass on there.
What's that?
Yeah.
We got
That's the closest I got to it.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah,
That was a good
that's
one. That was like 70s,
Yeah.
which none of us are around for. Okay, so we got that down. We got that out of the way, the Manhattan. So we're going to have to try one of those.
Yes.
So we got a Manhattan, and, well, now you kind of blew it up. Like, what's the new one?
Well, that's what I was about to lead into. Is that the new one is a different version of a Manhattan. It's considerably different. And if you guys are interested in kind of an A/B experience, you can see the classic, Manhattan that everybody loves, and then you can see the next generation Manhattan that everybody will hopefully love.
Loving it.
See?
I love it.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
Do I suspect some pickle juice in there?
Is there?
I have a sneaking...
There is no
I'm just
pickle
messing with you
juice
guys.
in
anyway.
Manhattan.
Just messing with you guys.
What about the new Manhattan?
It's mostly
Also,
pickle
no.
juice. No.
Like 100%.
It's just pickle juice.
With a dash of ponte, whatever how you say it, is ponte mix. Okay, so we got those two out of the way. But, we never really got out of the way. Like, you guys said you're bouncing the name around, but, like, what really, like, got you interested in opening up a bar, Usually I ask people, like, what interest did you get into in brewing, and people will be like, well, I did it at home, or, my brother did it, or something like that. And usually you see, where they learn it is they experimented or this or that. But, like, that doesn't quite necessarily apply here. But I still am curious, what made you think, you're like, okay, you know what, a bar's a bar, it serves beer, food. We're going to do something a little different. Like, I'm not saying, like, give me, like, an up and down of the thought process. But, like, really you said to yourself, like, we're going to try to make this work. You saw, like, a new opportunity for something, a little more unique, because I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some whiskey bars in Saratoga, and there's some down in Hudson, but there really wasn't, a super lot happening with whiskey, especially in Troy, but I guess the general capital district. And a lot of people around here love whiskey. So
I'm one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought that was interesting, so we were like, we've always wanted to open up a bar.
And I'm starting to get into scotch, and you guys have a really nice selection of scotch, too.
Yes, there is there.
Scotch
I
is
was
awesome.
I was flipping through it here. But, now that we're on the subject of whiskey, and I was, looking it over, and, you got, obviously, bourbon, scotch, rye, and then I see, Irish whiskey, which isn't really... All right, whatever. Either way, but I do notice. I noticed that you guys talked about a pickleback shot.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, in my limited experience bartending, as I understand it, a pickleback is a shot of Jameson and a backing of pickle juice.
Maybe the traditional
Now,
pickleback.
It hasn't. Okay, I'm totally fine with that. And I noticed that there is not Jameson on the whiskey menu.
Oh, well, that's
That's
probably
just
just a
because I forgot to
mistake
put it
on our
back
part.
we ran out last week. We're more of a Tully-Do shop.
There you go. Oh my
But
God!
we do
Jesus.
our... No, that was nice.
That was well done, everybody.
We use Tully for our picklebacks.
Now,
but
don't get me
we do
wrong.
have
I got no
JMO.
problem with Tullamore Dew. It's just I notice it's. Let's say this: if aside from Jack Daniel's, it's probably the biggest selling whiskey in the United States.
You'd be surprised how few people actually
And
order it here.
I'm just surprised that
Maybe it's because
not to see it.
Maybe.
Maybe people are
Usually.
like, I'm sitting here thinking that like maybe like Jameson blew them off and they're like, you know what, screw them, we're not.
Well,
going
if
to
you're
use
reading
it.
the menu, you don't want Jameson.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you really like Jameson. I don't know.
That's true.
But as you can see, I've already had to make the font smaller on our menu once, so there's limited space on our
Yeah.
menu, and some of those items that you just expect to be around might not necessarily make it on just for, in place of other, better, more
I
desirable
do see that
items.
Redbreast is here, and that's pretty fantastic Irish whiskey.
It's a good one.
I like to see some Glenfiddich and Lefroy.
But yeah, we got
There's
nice new Glenfiddich this week.
There's
Fire and Cane.
there's some real nice scotches on here, and I once again I probably know less about scotch than I know about Jameson. There's some nice Obanas on here.
I think
one
all
of my
of your
favorites.
listeners are jumping off right now. They're like, I don't know any of this shit.
Yeah,
beer.
I'm probably ruining it for everyone. I'm like, this stinks.
To an extent, I think
Yeah.
anybody that drinks beer will also enjoy a nice whiskey. Or
Well, I mean, no shortage. Any kind of bourbon,
I
it's
would hope
excellent.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. Well, I didn't grow up drinking beer, but I drank a lot of beer in my life, and I certainly wasn't always a whiskey person. Certainly not like straight drams of whiskey. It took me many years of drinking beer and terrible liquor to get an appreciation and a desire to actually know more about whiskey.
Yeah, I think it's also a part of our thought process, too, with this show. Is it's more, obviously, our heart and soul is in beer. Our heart and soul is in our local, our local brewers, our local bartenders, our local bars, our local talent. So it's pretty much whatever's brewing in the Capital District. This is new. This is brewing. You've got, your mixed drinks. You've got signature drinks. I enjoy coming here, obviously. I've been here a bunch of times. So it's not always 100% beer, but it sure helps.
Absolutely.
All right, so now so far we've been through our newest, our most popular, and what was the last one? Your heart and soul.
Heart and soul.
So what would you guys think about, like, not your most popular, obviously, not what you're coming up with new, but if you said to yourself, my favorite, or the one that I'm really proud of. Like, what would be either the cocktail or the whatever it is you guys got, like, you're really proud of? You're like, this is the one we really, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm going to let James go first on this one.
Do it up.
Well, yeah. So I think I know what she's going to say, and she thinks she knows what I'm going to say, maybe?
I never said that.
You guys want to say at the count of 3?
No.
Really romantic again? The love?
No, what was that old dating game show where it's like she said this and they ask a bunch of questions. So you guys got to write it down.
That might have been the dating game.
I think it was the dating game.
Yeah,
that's
might have
right.
been it.
Not the Chuck Woolery dating game, though.
I don't know. I mean, these were, I think the fact that we were that close is good.
Yes. I don't even know if I said his name right.
Chuck Woolery?
I definitely said it wrong.
No, I think you're right. No, I think it's right.
I
You said it right.
think I said Woolery or something.
Chuck Woolery, I think is what it was.
Chuck Woolery.
I don't know. I mean, like,
I'll count you guys
I
down.
saw it on reruns on, like, TV land, so I don't even know.
I seen a game show once where it was a guy and his secretary and his wife. And I could just say that there was a lot of angry women on that
There was
show.
some tension, I'm sure.
Yeah, they would ask a question of both of them about
Oh,
him
boy.
and whoever
That's
got
really
it right.
Yeah, that's what's called a lose-lose for the gentleman. There's nothing good coming out
And
of that.
also some good
Nothing.
entertainment for
That's
America.
that was probably like the early Housewives. That was like the first incarnation or whatever it is to the Housewives. Reality TV, right? Now it's every friggin' TV it is that there is. All right, so now that we totally interrupt you on your favorite, let's hear it.
Yep.
Pressure's on.
Well, so it's not even on the menu. So this is how we're going to know if people that listen to this podcast come in and
you
order.
might get 3 orders.
It's the hot and dirty martini.
All right, describe
Is that
it.
what you were going to say?
Hey.
Oh, you should have said it at the same time, guys.
not
They
in
should
your
have said it.
head.
They should have said it at the same time.
I
They blew
felt
it.
the chemistry. I felt the countdown.
Yeah, you were on
This
it.
is
You
why
knew
we're
it.
married,
You
guys.
knew
We're
it.
just like always on the same wavelength.
You knew it. So what? Now
That or she's
explain
a
it.
really good liar.
Now what is that? Is that even on? No, you said it's not even on
It's
here.
not on the menu.
So I can't like test you on it. Damn
No,
it.
we make it for a few of our customers, but I used to make these for myself all the time, which sounds weird. But I spent like a whole summer just drinking hot and dirty martinis. It's just a dirty gin martini with Tabasco sauce in it.
All right.
Always getting a pickle in there. Or
No,
don't
there's
olive
no pickle in
juice.
there.
Olive
All right, yeah.
juice.
Well, that's a
You can do
correction.
it
There
with
is no pickle in
juice,
there.
too, though,
I
if you want.
don't know anything. I don't even know how I get up and get
I
dressed
mean, the
every
pickle
morning.
juice isn't all that much different than the brine that they whatchamacallit.
I just know I don't like it.
It's not all that. All right.
You don't like olives either?
I'm a very picky person.
How do you feel about pineapple?
I love it. And I'm
But-
allergic to it.
Oh.
That's another one of our favorite drinks we've been doing. Is the Surfer on Acid number 2,
Number 2.
which
It's
does
not.
involve pineapple.
Yeah.
I love
It
pineapple.
was the Surfer on Acid. It was Malibu, pineapple, and Jägermeister, right?
I'm going to be Ubering
Yeah.
home tonight.
Oh, I can't believe that one. We were not doing. I don't think we should do that one.
We
We'll
swapped out
stay away from
the
that one.
Jägermeister for Fernet Branca.
Oh wow. And I have no idea what that is.
I'll text
Oh.
We'll pour you some.
The
yeah,
bartender's
if you're
handshake.
Down to drink some shit.
I've heard of it, but I've definitely never had it.
I'm going to.
You like Jaeger, I can see.
Yeah, you're a
because I've already
bartender.
had.
You've never
I've
had the
had
bartender's
Jaeger before. It
handshake?
doesn't necessarily mean I like Jaeger.
Oh,
Hey, I think you'll like Fernet. It's good.
All right.
I have a feeling I'm going to be texting the beautiful Jessica to come pick me up.
She doesn't have far to go, right?
No, where you live,
Oh,
5
must be
minutes
nice.
from here.
Yeah.
Actually, what am I talking about? My next door neighbors are right here.
Right. You should have got a ride over. Like, all right, let's
Well,
do
it's
it.
not like we're not
I'll
going to
take
do the
them all.
shots of Fernet also.
That's
True.
silly.
Plus, they came in like a 2-seater. Hope you like the trunk.
Yep. Or
Hey,
right
we
here in the middle.
take the bus home. We have, we're not
believe
above that. There's a bus line that picks up like 30 feet away from here and drops us 2 blocks from our house.
Look
It
at
runs
that.
till like 3 o'clock in the morning.
So easy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so you can get drunk whenever you want.
Not to mention Uber sucks now.
Have you seen our neighborhood?
No, I have not. I guess I don't want to.
We're intimidating.
From what you're telling me
We're
right
the scary
now.
neighbors
I know you
in
can't
the
see us,
neighborhood.
but we're both like 6'9" and 300 pounds. Pure muscle.
I'm laughing in fear because they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's right, you better
laser
laugh.
beams for eyes.
They looked at us and they said, "You better laugh. Better laugh."
All right, so you guys going to go make those drinks real quick, and then
Sure.
we'll have a little conversation, and we'll try these out.
Let's do it.
And then I can test you on the bourbon and scotch menu.
All right. Study that real quick.
I wouldn't really know anything, but I'm like curious because like even like I really don't know much about whiskey, and maybe our listeners would want to know like what's basic differences between bourbon, scotch, and rye,
Yeah, we can
stuff
definitely go
like
over
that.
that.
See, you can help. That's big because I can never remember that stuff.
All right.
And
ready to
it would
get
be
learned.
helpful. There we go. Get ready to learn.
I'm excited.
Back in school.
That's right.
All right, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to test Gaz on your menu. Now, Gaz.
Yeah, I can't read, so that's a good start.
Well, just listen then.
Sound out the words. Whiskey. I think I got that one. All right.
You want another drink in the meantime, or?
Yes, please.
What would you like?
I think I'm going to get that same thing again.
All right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He likes it.
I do. Tommy likey. Tommy, you want beer?
Are you guys both doing it already? Need a refill?
Actually, I'm gonna have one.
Refill?
Yep. I like
Sure.
This Utica Club's
Alright.
delicious.
Another round of the same?
Please.
All right.
Oh, boy. This is going to be a rough one.
Utica Club. I can't even say it now. Utica Club.
And
Delicious.
who brews that?
Matt's Brewing Company.
Very good.
Utica, New York.
Skinny Atlas, New York.
Yep. Spell it.
Cannot.
Not a chance.
S-K.
That's it.
I used to play against them in high school all the time. It was one of our rivals. Skinny Atlas Lake.
That's right, because you went to
Like
Syracuse, Central New York. Yeah. A lot of rich kids out of Skinny Atlas.
My great-grandparents were but they moved there from Virginia. My great-grandmother moved here from England.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jeter's got a house allegedly in Skinny Atlas. Yeah.
Wow.
Dirk Jeter.
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah. Check that on the phones, the Googles. Yeah.
I want to say I saw his house in Florida. He has a house in Florida, I want to say.
He does, definitely, for sure.
I think I might have seen it when I
He's
was
part
down
owner
there.
of the Tampa Bay.
But
What do you call him now? You
on-
can't call him Devil Rays.
I was on the East Coast, I think, when I supposedly saw his house.
Oh, yeah?
Who knows? I can't remember most stuff.
You had a good story about Yankee great who was drinking beer on an airplane.
No, I would no.
Wade Boggs and you together?
I did. Damn it.
What?
Now you got to tell the story.
Okay, here's what happened. It was my friend Scooter. I'm just gonna say we're not using full names.
I know Scooter.
Yes, you do. We were at the casino. He actually invited me to the casino.
Rivers?
Yep, at the Rivers, where somebody around here works. I'm like, okay. I was working at the casino. He's like, come on down to the casino. He's like, he had been gambling there pretty consistently. So they were, thank you so much, so that they were giving him some VIP treatment. And he's like, hey, listen, I got 2 tickets to this like meet and greet for some
To the gun
for
show.
for some greats. It wasn't necessarily just Yankees. It just happened to be Yankees, and it might have been that because it was New York that they picked a couple of Yankees. So they would come in and they'd tell some stories and they'd field some questions and this and that. It was really neat. It was a big buffet and they were asking all kinds of questions and like it was cool. So he's like, all right, we ate some food and drank a couple beers and it ended and you go up and you get a picture and it was this guy named Bill Campbell who was a kind of a journeyman pitcher but a real big guy. He was pretty good. He played for like 7 different teams. And then it was Jim Leyritz, who obviously, if most Yankee fans know who he is, with the Yankees, and Wade Boggs, who, is kind of like, he's kind of a big deal. I mean, like, Jesus, he was the Red Sox team Hall of Fame. I mean, like, had a lot of hits. So we're like, wow. So, we got our pictures with him, and he autographed stuff. And, of course, my friend Scooter is asking, it doesn't matter, and asking Wade, Wade Boggs about the story about the 104 beers on the plane ride. And he's like, will you sign my shirt? He's like, yeah. He goes, will you sign my shirt like Wade Boggs 104 beers? He goes, no, I'm not going to do that. So, like, I'm laughing because I'm right there. So we get our pictures taken. I still got them somewhere. So he's like, I got a room upstairs. Why don't we, go out to the bar and have a few drinks and we'll gamble? I'm like, yeah, no big deal. So we go out to the bar and we both sit at the bar. And, I know, whatever, there's a few people I know there. It's right in Schenectady, so I know some people. So we sit down, and not more than 10 minutes later, who comes rolling up and sits down right beside us but Wade Boggs. And I'm like, holy shit.
Going for the record?
I look over at Scott, and like he's not really paying attention. I'm like, here, I'm going to buy him his first drink. So the bartender comes up, asks him, which she had no idea who he was, which was hilarious. Yeah. Some young girl, she's like, she had Wade Boggs. This is a star in the late 80s and 90s. She had no idea who he was. But, she gives him it was a Miller Lite can, and I'm like, hey, I want to buy that for that guy. She's like, she kind of looks at me. She's like, am I all right? And he goes, hey, thanks a lot, man. So that was kind of an opener, and we were talking back and forth. And I'm like, hey, listen, dude. I'm like, can you imagine? I'm like, we're sitting here at the casino hanging out with Wade Boggs. I'm like, this could be a real night to remember. I'm like, we can, next thing I'm picturing us like partying in the room, like going crazy, Wade Boggs, woo, it's Wade, So we're sitting there for a little while and we're hanging out, we're chit-chatting back and forth. And like, halfway through the conversation, I mean, like this guy's kind of like talking about himself and like, this and that. And I'm kind of getting the impression this guy isn't really the awesome Hall of Fame personality that he was player. And I'm like, he's like talking about how he's like, his hair grew back, and like I'm like, dude, your hair does not grow back. I'm sorry, those plugs are obvious from across the freaking bar. And we're in there, and I end up knowing a lot of people because I'm from the area. And he's like, Jesus, he's like, everybody. And I'm like, this and that. And I'm like, whatever, yeah. And I'm like back, and he's like, so he's talking to us back and forth, and like talking about how he did this and how he did that. And I'm like, finally somebody else comes over and says something, and I lean over at Scott. I go, I know we were talking about how cool it would be to be hanging out with Wade Boggs tonight. I'm like, right now, I'm trying to figure out some freaking way that we can ditch Wade Boggs because this guy sucks. And then finally, fortunately, like we saw the other two players come down, and like one of them came over, and you could tell he like grabbed Wade on the shoulder. He's like, "All right, we got a big day tomorrow. Maybe like we should." He's like, "Yeah." And then a few minutes later, like the obvious, like what I would say, the handler came down. And they're like, all right, Wade, we got to be up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Like, we want to think about. He's like, and he's like, like at this point, he's had probably like 20-something beers.
Oh my god!
And he's gagged, and I'm just looking at him. As soon as like his attention's away, I'm like, Scott, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm like, we'll just ditch this guy right now. I don't even know what happened later on, but I'm like, it really went downhill quick. I'm like excited to hang out with a Hall of Famer, and the next thing you know, I'm like, dude, let's ditch this guy. You got to cut this guy loose.
That's insane.
Yeah, I can't even believe. Like, I haven't really told that story many times.
You had to ditch the hitman.
No, I'm going to crush you. The hitman was John Mattingly.
Oh my God!
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh yes.
I feel like an idiot.
Idol. I'll let everybody know out there who Wade Boggs was, who I couldn't stand.
Yeah.
Because of it, and like it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of gratifying to see the guy that I really despised as a child. That I did it for the right reasons.
I like how you slipped in though, like he had like 20-something beers. Like he's just such a machine. You just accepted like he was going to crush the beers.
You could tell. I mean, like as a person who works in a bar, I watched this guy in action up there, like having somebody like while they're talking, he's like fingering this gopher to come over and give him more beer. Oh, and like I said, like the one beer that I bought him, and I can drink pretty good. I mean, he had done in like 3 sips. I mean, while we sat there for we were there for like 45 minutes. He must have gone through like 6 beers easy.
That's insane.
He was averaging a beer like every 5 minutes.
I have one baseball great story, and it doesn't even come close to that. And it was actually Jeff and I were out in Oswego, it's Cooperstown, and we were staying at some hotel, and getting on the elevator, and Ozzie Newsome hopped on.
Yeah.
Did he play for the Browns?
He played for Oakland.
He played for the Browns, too, I think.
He did. I think Browns, Oakland, and the Ravens. I think he played all three. He had a little connection.
I'm pretty sure.
I think he had all three. Look at that. A little triangle of right, and right.
Yeah.
You're talking about Ozzie Smith from the Cardinals.
That's what I'm talking about, not Ozzie Newsome.
Jesus. You're talking about the Wizard. The Wizard of Oz.
But yeah, I still got the name right.
You did.
I still got the team right.
Unless you were talking about Ozzy Osbourne, because that could have also been another Ozzy.
Looks just like him.
He played for Manchester United. No, and then I got to the bar.
Played for the Cardinals.
And
I want to see you play for only the Cardinals.
Yes, that's right.
I don't think you played for anybody else.
I can't believe that I had the right team and the right name, but the wrong person in mind. But I eventually, Goose Gossage came into the bar, and I had a nice, great conversation with him. And we shared a couple beers. That was about
That's cool.
Wait a second. I feel like you left out a portion of that story, because I know that story you're talking about right now. You're with Levac, right?
Yeah.
So how I remember that story going is that Goose Gossage is with you guys, And I think it's Levac. It might have been you. Went over to Goose Gossage and said, hey, I'm going to buy you a beer. And he said, no, I'm good. And he's like, no, I'm going to buy you a beer. And Goose Gossage was like, no, I'm good. He's like, I'm buying you a beer. You got enough wins for the Yankees. You're getting a beer from me. And he's like, all right, I'll drink your beer. I'll do it.
That might have been.
Yeah.
Because I did offer, I think I did buy him. He said no or whatever, and I ended up buying him a beer. But I think that might have been Sean.
Oh, you're right. It might have been. Okay.
Sean would have gone over and kept pushing it. Me, I was just like, no, okay, buying the beer anyway. Here you go, because I already knew what he was drinking.
To add these athletes, coaches, legendary stories, so I was fortunate enough, and hopefully this happens again in December, I was fortunate enough to vote for the Heisman Trophy for the last 6 years. So actually, like, we'll go to New York City, I'll go to the event. It's just the freaking coolest thing ever for somebody that play college football to, like, see, like, all these great college football players all there in one spot in one night. So what people don't realize is there's two different events. There's one at, like, I think it's called the PlayStation Theater now, and then actually at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. So after the event, all the players would go to the bar in the Marriott Marquis. So because I'm a media member, I get like a room there. So I always bring my dad every year because he's a big football fan. So it's like a cool father-son thing where like we're going to New York City, we're going to see all these college football legends and just hang out and drink beer. It's like the most insane thing ever. So I get there one year, and my dad calls me. He's already at the bar. He goes, Tommy boy. He goes, you won't believe what's happening at the bar right now. Barry Switzer's here. Barry Switzer, like a legendary coach, won the Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, won for the Oklahoma Sooners. He goes, he's dancing with these co-eds from Oklahoma. I go, what? He's like, yeah, these early 20-something-year-old girls, these 70-year-old coaches, like dancing them around, drinking. I'm like, there's no way. Not in 2018. Like,
take photos.
Right. There's no way this is like nobody's taking photos. I get down there. Sure enough, Barry Switzer's got 3 girls around him dancing like an old man would at a wedding. I'm like, what is happening right now? So there he is, just having the time of his life. I think that was the year, maybe Kyler Murray, from Oklahoma won the Heisman, so that's why he was there. So coach is like the life of the party. But because it's New York City and because there's athletes and like nobody wants to bother him because like somebody's having a nice time over here, somebody's having a time over there. It's not like people are just trying to get in his way. So my dad's like, I got to get a picture with coach before we leave. So sure enough, it's like, I think like 12:30 at night, and coach is finally heading off to his room. And then here my dad comes over, he's, hey, coach, I got to get a picture. He's like, all right, let's do it. So he's like dancing with my dad. It's unbelievable. He's like, coach, I would have loved to play for you. And my dad, if you know him, he's like 6'3". He looks like an old 1970s football player. Just like competitive CrossFitter now, just shredded. So he is one of those dudes who's in his mid-60s who looks like he played in the 1970s. Like, tall, strong dude. He's like, I would have loved to play for you, coach. He goes, I wish I would have had you. He didn't play college. He's a good football player, but he thinks he like played for Oklahoma or Texas. So the wild stories of athletes and coaches. People love to just like kick back and do their own things when they're in a comfortable setting. There's no doubt.
It's like Catfish. No, what's that? Catfish Williams, Goose Gossage.
You're thinking Catfish Hunter.
Yeah.
TV show Catfish.
Also a great Yankee.
Closer. But anyway, Goose Gossage. I was the first one to go up to talk to him. I was like, are you Goose Gossage? Because you sound like him. You kind of look like him. He's like, I am.
He probably had the stash, too.
That's right.
Did.
He's had that stash for years.
He's like, well, let me tell you something, brother.
That's like his trademark. That's like his trademark.
Yeah. He's the only one.
That's kept it.
I know. Well, no.
I don't think there's any other players that
well, not
Rare
players.
For the Yankees too. That mustache. You don't see a lot of Yankees with mustaches.
Yeah. Well, it's really tough.
Steinbrenner got really harsh with grooming, with the Yankees grooming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's his name? David Wells got away with it for a while. He got away with a goatee when I'm pretty sure Steinbrenner only allowed a mustache, and that was it. No sideburns, no beard. Just basically a mustache down to wherever. I don't know where the cutoff is.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when that kicked in, because you sit there and you think about guys like
it was when Steinbrenner became the owner. It was like he bought the team in the mid '70s.
Yeah, but look at I'm the worst with names. 44.
Reggie Jackson. He had the big burns.
Yeah.
Yep. He allowed, but you got to remember in the '70s, big heavy mustaches were the norm.
Yeah,
like Guidry had one. Remember,
professional.
But he would only let the mustache be like certain. He's
not really like Raleigh Fingers. Remember him from the A's where that thing would curl up and everything? No, that's not going that way. Yeah, Padres as well. Yep.
He still does that.
Bushy beard. Yeah, he does. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to say I saw a picture of him fairly recently. I'm pretty sure he still does that. The mustache wax. All right, we're back.
We're back.
We were talking
about mustaches while you were gone.
Yep. Sick.
Aaron knows a lot about mustaches.
Yep.
Yeah, I know everything about them.
Well, the Whiskey Pickle, a lot of the original Whiskey Pickle mascot drawings had mustaches.
Oh, really?
That's true. It was kind of like a Mr. Peanut, but it was a pickle.
Pickle. I like it.
Mr. Pickle.
Do they have a monocle?
What about Pickle Rick?
Oh.
But that's already been done.
That's
the
already
problem.
been done.
It's like too pop
Now
culture.
it's too much.
Right.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows it.
I'm trying to remember. I want to say Mork and Mindy,
not
but that's
obscure
definitely
enough.
not. What is the name of that show?
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty. That was
Mork and
close.
Mindy is something
You
else.
have to admit, though, as big as it is a good show.
No,
Yes.
It is.
No,
It is
it's
very
It's a
funny.
fantastic
It's hilarious.
show.
But it blew up so big it became mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately.
It's still great, yeah. But not something that we're going to probably put into our bar. We're not really...
No, I'm not saying.
We do have a Morty sticker on the back of our bathroom door, though.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, okay.
Somebody tagged it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stickers. Somebody went wild and our door had no stickers, and then 10 minutes later it had a lot of stickers.
Yes,
Yes,
that
there's
happens.
a lot of stickers.
A lot of yeah.
I was
They got
just like
tagged.
thankful
almost-
that somebody brought us
you
so
got
many
tagged.
stickers. Honestly.
Yeah.
And almost the other night when I got, what was it, Friday? What night? Saturday night? I was in
Saturday
here.
sounds right.
Yeah, I was drunk. I mean, I was tired. You were very close to having another sticker in there. The Cable to Brew podcast.
Oh, well, why didn't you put
Yeah,
it on there?
Because
Maybe he did. It's Where's Waldo now.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not a bad idea. There's so we ended up going to a place who is called the Tipsy Moose.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I would just shout out a liquor to the bartender, and he would just make me a drink of his choosing.
Nice.
So I'd be like, mezcal. And he'd
Sweet.
make me, a drink.
Did you put the worm in it?
No.
We do a lot of that. Saturday when you were here might not have been the most opportune time to do that.
you were
but,
busy.
Yeah, but we
God,
generally
I'm
like
busy.
to do things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
whenever you're here and you want us to mix you up something funny or
I like
fancy
it.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll do that for you.
Well, obviously, when it comes especially to alcohol, I will try anything other than pickles in my alcohol, but I will try anything.
All
So,
right. Well, are you ready to try a hot and dirty martini?
yeah, let's try it.
All right. let me
Yeah, well,
grab
is there
it.
an order of the ones that we're supposed to drink and, Well,
Nope.
I think we should do the Manhattans back to back.
I think
Okay.
those should be
Yeah, for
back
sure.
to back.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's do the hot and dirty first. So
Yeah.
Do we need like a glass of water as a palate cleanser, or is the beer good enough?
I feel like the hot and dirty martini in itself is a palate cleanser.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty. Yeah.
Then that's perfect.
But if you guys want water for hydration reasons, we can get that too.
I got beer.
Here, I'm going to pass this one along.
Oh, I can pass,
Pass
into
it
this?
along.
Oh, okay, thank
Pass it
you.
along.
I like to see that they're shots. I was a little worried there was
Thank
going to be
you.
like a full cocktail. I'm like, I'll never make it home.
When's the last time you had this colorful mixture of drinks?
I've never had this before. The Dirty Martini. I've seen people get after the martini. I think I've had one martini in my life because everyone said like, I don't know if you guys are the same way. Like, oh, it's kind of like a girly drink because you hear it on like girly shows like Sex and the City and stuff. And when you have one,
James
you're like,
Bond.
Yeah, James Bond.
exactly right. Like, yo, I had my first martini. I'm like, yo, this is not a girl.
starts speaking with a Scottish
Nothing,
accent.
it's nothing but alcohol, pretty much. I mean, how does that mean?
I
It's
was going to
straight
say,
booze.
I would call this very spirit forward.
It's nothing but straight booze.
He starts calling everybody Moneypenny.
Yeah, this is the hot
All right,
version.
we're
so
trying
hot
it
and
now.
dirty.
This is
it spicy?
this is
a
gin.
little spicy.
I like
It's
spice.
gin, hot sauce,
Olive brand.
olive
Olive
juice.
brine.
Yep.
And
Olive.
then
Is
a
there
little
any-
bit of dry vermouth up in
Yeah, see,
there.
that was what I was asking.
Yeah, we
Just
use
wave the
Dolan.
bottle.
Using some Dolan.
Dolan dry.
All
We're gonna
right.
sip this, right? This is not
Yeah,
a
yeah,
college
you don't
shot.
You do not have to
No,
shoot
no.
it back now. But you can if you want.
Gin,
This
though.
is definitely
We're doing
shootable.
gin.
Now that I'm having it out of a shot glass, it's shootable.
Oh,
Chewable, right?
It is for sure shootable.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more kick than the
Do you use
Pino
Tabasco?
Pills,
Tabasco.
Yep.
right? The
I
Pino
can tell
Pills.
by the flavor. What's that?
The Pino Pills, a little more spicy.
Oh, way more spicy.
You guys want
It's
to know
got
a
some
secret?
kick.
I know it does.
Like you'll notice it right now. It's going. It's going pretty good.
You want to know a secret?
Then it's not a secret.
No, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Well,
you gotta say yes. I want to know.
You're
the
telling
secret.
it to all 10 people listening out there
Yes.
too. So
Yeah.
It's not a secret anymore.
Well, plus the
not a
5 in here.
Breaking news. I got a Carolina Reaper pepper plant.
wow.
Oh, really? Congratulations.
I hope I don't
It's gonna
kill
be
it.
tough to handle.
Oh, we grew habaneros last year.
Did you? I got a couple jalapeno. Jalapeno? Jalapeno.
Jalapeno.
I believe it's
Jala-
jalapeno.
Jalapa.
We're gonna have to ask
Pino?
the people at Back Barn again, huh?
Last episode, we were going over the proper pronunciations of local Dutch words.
Oh, that's a fun one.
But anyway, yes, I got a hand. Liz, a listener and also a friend. She got me a couple of plants, a couple 2 tree, and 2 of them are 2 different types of jalapenos. And then the last one is the Carolina Reaper plant. I'm super excited about. I'm pretty sure our neighbors between us probably think it's a weed plant, so I'll be surprised at how long it makes it out there.
Well, I hope they try to smoke that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my
It'll be
god,
in for
I
an
hope they
unpleasant
do.
surprise.
So one of the leaves, we had to transport it, and obviously our whole neighborhood, like I swear to God, at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's just poofs of smoke. Just like, when I turn on my air conditioner, it's just literally just blowing weed right into my room.
Oh, I thought that was
That's
That's probably
terrible.
us. I'm so sorry.
I thought it was chimney situations. It's actually something else.
That's
okay.
terrible.
It's a chimney. Huh.
Who would do such a thing?
Those
madness.
terrible people.
How much is rent?
Horrible human.
Jesus, how dare they?
Well, if you discount the second-hand high, you save a
dare
little bit of
they.
weed money every month. So
Yeah.
No, you totally right. Exactly. See,
Yeah.
now you haven't even this has got some kick.
Yes, it does.
But
I haven't even.
I
sipped my
gotta say
beer yet.
this: it is flavorful. Like
It is.
It's almost like not to sound. It's almost like a Bloody Mary, like boiled down to just the alcohol and spiciness portion.
It's delicious.
I like
I wish.
that description.
I wish this was a whole pint glass that would just last forever.
It's and surprisingly, like gin, it's made with gin, which has a tendency
Delicious.
to be very. Gin has a very distinct, strong juniper flavor.
I love gin.
And I will say this: the brine and or the Tabasco
Kills it.
Cuts that sharpness. It still tastes like gin, but it doesn't have that super sharpness you get when you drink like a gin and tonic. You're just like,
I
whoa.
love gin
Whoa.
and tonic.
Well,
And just gin.
It's basically the same concept, I think, as like like the whole point of a pickleback shot is, you do the shot of whiskey, you do the shot of pickle juice, so it kind of cuts that shit out of your throat that like makes it burn
But
so
what
much.
if you really like that part about the whiskey?
then don't drink the pickle
the
juice.
pickle
Gotcha.
juice. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's got electrolytes, which are good.
Good for you.
It's what
I'll drink
plants are
Gatorade.
Salt, I think, is an electrolyte, isn't it?
great. Yep.
Potassium.
Yeah.
Potassium.
We were quick. Jinx. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, damn it.
Sounds like we're
good.
going to
Aaron,
eating fertilizer here in a minute.
I'm going to finish this because it really is, like I said, like gin can be tough, especially straight gin. It's, like in something like that, but definitely. And I like the spiciness. It's like
Thank you,
having a
guys.
hot wing in there, too.
I had a lot of questions about your pothead neighbors I wanted to get back to, but I'll just pass on that. That's okay.
I
We'll
think
talk
he's
about
just
that a little
referring
later.
to
You can ask
us.
them. We're here.
Go.
It's great. They got like 10 kids, no jobs.
Yep.
They've got like a pool
yeah.
table, a TV the size of their wall, and
You should just be hanging out over there. Let them pay for you, too.
well, I would.
Get in
except
on that.
It always ends up in fights.
They do
That's when you
fight a
leave.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It is sad.
Okay, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was
You like
really good. Yep. I think it's just because I like Tabasco.
I mean, I could basically drink Tabasco, so
Almost, yeah.
yeah, I'm right there with you.
I like Tabasco. I got I probably talked about this on the podcast. Do I have you ever watch Netflix, The Champions, where they have like the wheel of cheese that go down?
Oh my god, yeah.
And then there's a guy who has a hot sauce company.
I haven't
Pucker
seen
Butt?
the hot sauce
Yeah.
one
Are you
yet.
serious? They eat all the hot peppers and stuff like that. He like invented like the Carolina Reaper or something.
I've seen that guy, but I haven't seen that episode of the show.
Oh, watch that episode because it's
That guy just pops them off and just chews on them like they're nothing. It's
Well, they
wild.
had some of the greatest hot food eating people. I don't know what you call them. Competitors, because they had this big competition where they'd all eat these different peppers. They progressively got hotter and hotter and hotter. So he owns a company called Pucker Butt, and I got 3 of his hottest sauces that were given to me for Christmas. So I have a lot of fun with those, especially like when Jess, like, what was I eating the other day? I was eating something, and I was like, "You want it? You want me to make you some too?" And she's like, "No, I'm fine." So it's like macaroni and cheese. So the first bowl I got was like, and she just keeps opening her mouth like, so I keep giving her the food. I just spit on my mic, and then so she keeps opening her mouth meaning for me to give it to her. So I keep giving her the macaroni and cheese. Anyway, long story short, the second time I go for the second bowl of macaroni and cheese, I took a bunch of hot sauce, put it all in there, mixed it all up, and she's like, and that's why I'm single.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought I saw the for sale sign go up pretty quick.
Unreal you are.
Wait, so what is your favorite thing to put hot sauce on?
That is a good question.
It's a tough one.
I like tacos, obviously. I really, it's funny. I went to. Have I ever told the Torchy Taco story?
Jeez,
Oh my god,
we love
Torchies.
Torchies.
There we
love
go.
Torchies.
So Torchy Taco and tacos, they're a little chain in the South. I know they just opened up one in Colorado, but Texas, obviously you guys know. So in August, they put together the 4 hottest tacos that they can make. And I went during August a couple years ago. And because I went there before, and they were just like, "Oh, if you really want hot, come back here in August." I was like, "All right." So I specifically, Jess and I went out there in August, tried their 4 hottest tacos. They weren't hot enough. I told them, I was like, "Come on, man! I made this trip to New York to eat your tacos, and they're not that hot." And so the restaurant manager, he comes out and he's like, "Well, I mean, we can make it hotter." I was like, "Sure, how?" He's like, "Well, really, all we do is we make the hottest hot sauce we can, and then we have this stuff called the Source. It's an ounce. It's $100 an ounce. It's 700 Scoville units." To give you an idea, probably one of the hottest peppers you get, Scotch bonnet or Carolina Reaper, tops maybe 200 or 2,000.
Million, right?
Sorry, 2,500,000 Scoville units is pretty much, this is over 7 million.
Okay.
Oh my god.
And it's literally just like this black liquid.
Nobody needs 7 million of anything.
I would take $7 million.
Yeah, but besides that, right?
All right.
In your body is the better way to put it. Right,
Yes.
right. But
Yeah.
I don't know how many blood
French
cells.
fries.
French fries. Rice is
I feel
great
like
if you
eating
want
about 7 million
2,000 of
French fries.
something. Mitch Hedberg jokes. So anyway, they show me this bottle. The guy's got the gloves on. He takes a toothpick and he's like, "All right, here you go." So I take a couple drops off the toothpick right into the hot sauce that they put aside for me, and then I poured the hot sauce on a taco. I bit it. I was like, "Yeah, it's hot. It's hotter." So then he gives me another toothpick and I just rub it right through the actual taco, and then I eat it. And I was like, "Yeah, it's still pretty hot, but not hot enough." And I only put a little bit, like, from the tip. So I took that same toothpick and I picked it up and just right off the toothpick. I was like, "All right, yeah, that's pretty hot." But it's still,
God, dude,
Oh man.
you're sick.
it was crazy because the whole kitchen staff came out and watched me. I actually have it on video of me doing this, and my father's sitting there, and the whole kitchen staff comes out when I do it. They're just like all like, "Oh my god!" Like, I got the reactions. Pretty cool.
You know, if like you're a video game, you won. The level's completed. Like if you're an athlete, you won the championship. You're done. You're retired. It's over.
Yeah, you beat Tyson.
But that's impossible.
Punch out. No, it's not. I've done
I knew
it.
the code.
Beat Tyson and Mike Tyson punch
Really?
out. I assure you, I beat many times. You just got to know the pattern.
I know that.
You did it, man. 7 million.
Yeah. Plus.
Yeah, you beat Mike Tyson.
Can you still taste things?
Yes, for sure. All right, first of all, I'm broken. I can still taste when things are hot, but I'm broken. Like, there's just something wrong with me that just, like, I hit a certain level, and it just doesn't feel any hotter. But I will say that I watched those guys on We Are the Champions, and I can never do that. That was insane. Like, those guys were just nonstop, just eating these peppers raw. And to tell you the truth,
housing hot peppers.
yes, nonstop. Like, they just keep giving them more, and they get hotter and hotter. Have you? I mean, if you eat like you can get habanero hot sauce and try it, and you're like, "Yeah, it's hot." But if you eat a straight up fresh habanero pepper, that's even hotter.
It even like burns your skin.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that I tore one of the leaves off of my plant yesterday, and I got a little bit on my arm, and that was pretty warm.
I was in college once. We were drinking in downtown Albany and trying to get back to SUNY Albany at some late hour, and some van pulls up on the corner and asks if me and my friends need a ride somewhere. So it's basically like a really sketchy taxi, and we're like, "Yeah, we do. We're trying to go back to U Albany." He's like, "All right, get in." So like a bunch of us get in the van, and we're like, there's a bunch of us, so it can't go that bad, right? And so we're all wasted. So we're driving back, and my friend August is sitting up. August owns Pint Sized in Albany.
Yeah, Pint Sized. Yeah,
So we're in this sketchy van with this
Yep.
sketchy older guy, and he's driving us back. And meanwhile, he's just sitting there like eating hot peppers like out of a jar. And August is
I
in
would
the
just been
front
like, "Pull
seat.
over, please, let me out." You're
Well,
crazy.
August is like, "Dude, what are you eating?" He's like, "Well, these hot peppers I grew." So August is like, "Let me have one." So he eats one of these hot peppers, and then I've never seen a man like break out and like red and sweat so fast and so hard. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something about that situation, like that. None of that should have happened, but it all did.
But it did.
And yeah. So eating spicy hot peppers. That's what that reminded
Some
me of.
stranger gives you. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
That's smart.
There's so many
There you
levels
go.
of-
I'll eat one. Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Speaking of, we do have some pickled hot peppers in the fridge from Nighthawks if you guys want.
I'm not a big fan of pickled.
No, all right.
I just want to go back to the story. There were so many levels of bad decision, sketchy.
You won.
car,
Did you not graduate
pepper.
from Albany?
Bad decision number one.
It's basically like the,
Ultimate.
It's
I mean,
just
we
like
didn't get
the
back to
saying.
campus.
What?
We got back to campus.
He brought you back?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Well, obviously he's here right now. I mean, like,
Did you live?
he'd be gone. Yeah. Did you make it?
Have you died?
Did you wake
this
up
is
dead?
the simulation run number 2, guys.
Yeah.
I started it over.
Ready Player One.
That's what I was just thinking. Right.
See?
Yeah, exactly. And I was also thinking about which we would do it in order of old and then new, in terms of
Old, then new.
old then new. All right. That's what we're gonna do.
Which the unfortunate thing is that these,
You've forgotten
these
which is
drinks
which
we made
now?
up. No, we haven't forgotten which is which, but they are best served cold.
No,
It's
we'll be
fine.
fine.
So we'll get him now.
All right, yeah.
We'll be
so let's
fine.
just drink them. That's what I'm saying. is we
Yeah,
gotta
we'll be
drink
fine.
these things.
You know.
Everybody drink.
I've drinking a warm beer before.
Yes.
All right, so we're doing old and
Old first, because Trino, you want to try the traditional style. I'll pass it down.
She'll pass it down. So, James, you were in a band.
I was.
You were signed by a record label.
We were.
What was the name of your band?
The band was called Aficionado, and we were signed to an indie label called No Sleep Records out of Huntington Beach, California. A lot of kind of like punk-ish acts, and then just some kind of weird stuff, and we kind of fell into like the punkish but weird category. But yeah, did that for like 10 years total.
What was your role in the band?
A guitar.
There you go.
Yeah. There were a lot of us at one point. We started as a 5-piece, and at one point we had like 10 members and a dude that like played the lights.
The lights?
Yeah. So he like built this this lighting rig. So we
That would make a noise every time it...
no. So basically, what he did was he built this control panel with like wires and switches and fuses and breakers, and then got a whole bunch of like halogen floodlights and arranged them. We kind of had our stage set up and brought way too much gear and things that we didn't
As it
need.
goes.
So then he would set up these lights in various places around the stage, and no matter where we'd show up in like a basement or a venue or like wherever we were playing, he would set up everything the same way, and then basically we'd do our set, and he would do the light show, but like on stage as if you were a member of the band, like headbanging and like just kind of doing crazy shit to the point where it was like almost too crazy.
I
for
hear
a
you
while.
saying your light tech was really involved.
Very involved, yeah. Andrew White, we love you. The best lighting band member that probably has ever existed, and probably will ever exist.
Yeah.
'Cause nobody should do that again.
Am I allowed
But I was
to ask,
about to go ahead.
I was going to say, am I allowed to ask questions? Because I have so many follow-ups.
Yes,
Like, the
please,
podcast in
jump
me
in,
is
jump in.
jumping in here. So, like, 10 years is not, like, a small sample of time. 10 years is a decade. Like,
Yeah.
that's a career you had in music.
Yeah, no, it was. So, I went to college for like a real thing. I have a finance degree, and I started working in finance, and then realized that it was like soul-sucking and terrible, and kind of against everything that I valued. But I formed this band in college with a bunch of my friends, and then shortly after a bunch of us graduated, we got this record deal, and I was like, well, I'm going to quit my job in finance and be in a band for a while, and see how this pans out. And if it doesn't pan out, I'll go back to doing something businessy. But I'm going to fucking try to make a career in music, and that's what we tried to do until it all became clear to us that our band was not going to reach superstardom. But it took a while to get there, and it was a great journey.
But if that, like, pop-punk genre you're talking about, I don't know, like, the time frame we're talking about, but we're talking, like, All-Time Low, Paramore. Like, there was a stretch where, like, pop-punk was, like, a pretty significant deal.
Yeah.
Like, the Warped Tour and all that stuff. Like, that was a big deal when that was going
A
on.
bunch of us were like going to Warped Tour and stuff, and then there were a bunch of people in the band. So I listened to a lot of punk music in high school, and but then I went to college, and August, who was in the band with me, was into a bunch of weird stuff like Mr. Bungle. And,
That's not that
like,
weird.
Just like and like a lot of like.
Why are you making fun of my music?
Yeah, like prog rock and like all sorts of shit. So like eventually like all these people that we met and put in this band, like we all just started listening to a lot of prog rock. Like I think we found this Kansas Magnum Opus. So we thought Kansas was like the Dust in the Wind band, and then like one of us found this record. It was called Magnum Opus, and we put it on, and it was just like this like fucking 20-minute like prog rock epic. It was just like insane organs and like ripping guitar solos and like bass interludes. It was just like fucking insane. We're like, holy shit, I've never heard anything like this before. So we all like started moving in that direction a little bit, and so that's when we started like adding people to our band. And so we got we had 2 trumpet players, 2 flute players, a keyboard player, a light guy, like 2 people singing, 3 guitar players. Like we had a lot going on for a while, which was
orchestra.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
There were a lot of people, but that's
It was awesome.
Yeah.
You think the aficionado came from like aficionado in music, but really it's aficionado in just people.
Oh. Forward thinking. I get it. I gotcha.
It's a thinker.
I do have one word of advice though. For like, we named the band Aficionado, but then don't name your band something that's hard to spell and hard to say, because people can't find you.
So exactly. Actually, I tried. I looked you guys. I looked you up. What was it, a couple days ago? Yesterday, Sunday. Anyway, I was trying to. You're exactly right, because like I like to smoke cigars, like your grandparents, and little photo of their
That's
grandparents.
my great aunt.
Oh, aunt.
Yeah.
I heard you say
with a mystery man.
Well, those are your grandparents on the right.
My
there.
grandparents are on the right. Yeah.
Both pictures, family members are
Since
drinking.
this is a
booze,
podcast, I guess I should say there are pictures of my grandparents and my great aunt and some guy smoking a cigar
On top of a player piano, it looks like.
on top. Yeah. On top
We'll just
of
make up a celebrity who she's with. That's with Bob Hope.
Yep, she's with
right
Bob Hope right there.
Actually, it looks like a. I don't know. It looks like a
Young
actually, it looks
Rodney
like it could be-
Dangerfield.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There we go.
Yeah, that's where
I
we're
can
going
see
with.
that. And look at him, he's drinking a martini. Oh,
It looks
fancy.
like Kurt Russell's father.
Oh yeah.
Michael Douglas.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, it's got that jaw thing going on. Yeah.
Well, are you guys? I'm sorry, we're going to different. Sorry, buddy.
I just assume this is all normal stuff.
Have you guys watched the Falcon and Winter Soldier?
No.
Oh, anybody?
No.
Anybody?
No.
Kurt Russell's son is in that
I'm
show.
pretty sure that like the end game is it.
Yes,
Why
that
am
was the
I-
end of the world.
Like, when I watched the end of Endgame yesterday, Black Panther came on, and I looked at my friend. I'm like,
I thought he's dead.
why do I want to watch Black Panther? He's dead. Like, I already know what happens. I just watched it. Like, I already know what happens. So I don't understand. Why would you put it on after that?
You do realize that the actor passed away, right?
Yes, I do know
Okay.
that. I wasn't even making fun. I'm like, but not only that, like, I already know what happened at the end of Endgame, so it doesn't matter if I watch Black Panther right now. I know the end.
Wait, so is the end game first? Somebody explain to me the history. What
Nope, too late.
what
Thanos
order is
killed
this
everybody
going?
in the
Because I
other
feel
one.
like Endgame, maybe everybody is when they turn to dust. Was it Endgame or was it
thought that
Infinity?
No, that was Infinity
Yeah,
War.
because that's the only. I'm not going to watch Endgame ever.
I don't think we've seen Endgame.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
I
the
watched
end of it.
Infinity War and I was like, well, I wasted more time than I would like to. And that's
it's
what
like
I
5.5
I
hours.
officially got out of like comic book world movies. Like I watched this movie that everyone was like, I love this movie. It's so good. Like even people that I wouldn't like think would like it were like saying they liked it. And then we watched it, and I just I'm out. I'm probably not going to watch another one, but that's okay.
I just had a shot of Ludens.
What Ludens? Is that what you?
I'm still thinking about getting a job as a light guy. Like that's like the only musical skill I would have in a band.
I can't
stop thinking about it. I'm like that's my job. I'm gonna go freaking California. I'm like I will be your onstage light guy because that's the only thing I'm qualified for.
I was a tour manager for like 4 or 5 years.
That's
Oh,
not
no way.
onstage light guy.
What?
Now, did you pay the onstage light guy?
No, he got
No,
the,
was
the
he part
same.
of the-
He got the same perks as being in the band. So he would like girls would sometimes sleep with him, and he would get free drinks.
But what I'm wondering about is like you're like, hey, listen, we have a gig. Like, is he at the gig meeting, or do you just like we have a schedule and you like put it on a telephone
shows up to
pole?
rehearsal.
Like, right, he put it on a telephone pole. He's like, oh shit, I got a gig down the street next Monday.
Yeah.
Like, I got to make sure I'm there. I'm like, did you guys like? Were you like, hey, listen, I don't know his name. Let's use Roger or whatever. Listen, Roger.
It was Andrew.
Andrew. Sorry,
White.
Andrew. Listen, dude. I'm like, we got a gig. We practiced, but obviously we didn't need you because we don't need that. But we're gonna be here at a certain night and time. Like, was he like at practice?
There's more that he was there. So
Or
we
was
just
he,
gave
like-
something to do.
Okay, so he was like,
Well,
and then
he
not
has
like,
to-
did you have to like call him up or like his mom's house and be like, yo,
No, he was just there. We were all
Okay.
we're all together, and like we all just kind of lived in the same houses, and just like all of us just like we're always in each other's shit all the
But,
time.
I mean, it was obvious that you were going to be guitar and so will be jazz flute and whatever. But you're like, listen,
Jazz flute?
Andrew. I said that. I snuck that jazz flute in. But I'm like, you're like, Andrew, dude, like, you don't know how to play an instrument and you can't sing at all. And we certainly don't want you dancing, it sounds like. So I'm like, what are we going to do for you? He's like, I got these floodlights and some switches. I'm in, right? I'm on. Like, I mean, even so, like, how could you, like, you're like, listen, man, like, you can do the switches and the light show, but I mean, like,
well,
you don't necessarily need to be on air.
You know, if you showed up and you're like, I'm gonna that's what he brought. He brought the initiative. Like, nobody else is being like, go do this light show. He's like, I'm gonna do this light show.
You want to know the best thing about Andrew is he never complained that he wasn't high enough in the mix.
It's true. But he did rock hard.
Was that a reference
really
to some music thing that I missed?
There's one thing in the band is that band members are always arguing over that they're too low in the mix, that they need to be turned up.
That means
the bass level's too low, or the guitar's too low, or the vocals are too low. Everybody wants to be
wants to be louder until everything is too loud.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody wants to be out front. I got you.
It was in her band.
So where was Andrew? No, I'm not going to keep kicking a dead horse there.
He's like, I got a fever. I need more floodlights.
He was the cowbell guy. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody can play it. Anybody can play cowbell. Gene Frankel.
Yeah, he played cowbell.
Oh.
Yeah,
there you go. There's
auxiliary percussion that he did.
Did he do it from front of house?
He is Gene Frankel.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, he was pretty prominent on stage. Not like.
Oh, so he was up on stage.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
That's what I was saying.
On stage, like in front of the drummer, like yeah.
Ooh, wow. How did he feel about the mix thing? Is that what I said? Like the mix?
Well, drummer's drums.
He's not the mix.
If he wants to be louder,
he's got to worry. Yeah, right. He doesn't have to worry about being in the mix.
At some point, I don't remember when the light show ended. At some point, it ended. I'm pretty sure we told him that we didn't want it anymore.
Who had to let him? Never mind. Let him down easy.
Not to minimize Andrew and his role in the band, but
I know I'm really harshing on the poor guy. I mean, I shouldn't be. Hopefully, he doesn't listen to this and maybe like stalk me and kill me.
I was a tour manager, so I mean, I had absolutely.
Did you tour manage for like a bunch of bands or like?
No, just one in particular. It was Bulletproof Messenger. They're a band out of New York. They did this thing called Celiband, and I've sat in many of meetings where.
Celiband?
Is
that like celibate?
No, Celiband.
Probably.
Celiband was like no, Celiband was it's kind of, think of GoFundMe before GoFundMe came around.
And it was a band.
But it was for bands specifically, not like
just music.
Somebody crying about.
So if you were a fan of somebody, you would become a believer. This is before Justin Bieber, but this is how I'm really dating this.
Still sounds creepy though.
Yeah. And what would happen is people would they like for every $10 that they put into the band, they would get a CD for. So if you put $500 into a band and you were trying to get to 50,000, and when you hit 50,000, they would pay for you to go into what do you call it, a studio with a major producer,
right?
And cool. and that was it. It was a pretty good deal. The Bulletproof Messenger did it in the record time. I think they did it in less than 6 months. Raised $50,000, and cool. We're supposed to produce with a guy named Ron St. Germain, but at the last second, they decided to go. I keep saying we decided to go in a different direction. They just decided to produce it themselves. So we went to Cutting Room Studios. Rocky was the engineer, great dude, and they self-produced the album, and it came out. It was pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's some bands are great at self-producing. You just need somebody in the band that
they do now.
That person.
They're actually getting back together as of like a month ago, and they've released a new song on Spotify. But they've got Chad from a drummer from a band that we all know that I can't remember the name of.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No, imagine that.
That's what I thought about too. Like, whoa,
that's crazy.
Oh man, what was the name of that band?
I know a couple of musical Chads. Chad Kroger. Let's not talk about him. Nickelback Chad?
No, not him.
Yeah. See, I'm glad you guys didn't even know who I was talking about. I know too much about Nickelback. I got a Nickelback CD when remember when they used to do those buy 12 CDs for a penny situation.
What's that?
Yeah, like the music
Columbia?
house.
Yeah, Columbia. Yeah, so I was like, whoa, this is way awesome. So but I had a hard time finding 12 CDs in the catalog that I even wanted. So I ended up with a Nickelback CD, the first Nickelback CD. That's all it took,
Yeah,
which was probably the
Alanis
best one.
Morissette. Just trying to get that Dead Kennedys album.
Yeah, but that was the thing that I owned once. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good because speaking about Nickelback, Nick, you'll know this. When you go to radio stations, they will have the albums up in the hallway as if the band was there, and sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. So there was that period, and maybe it's still going on, where people just hated Nickelback. They were just so polarizing. It was funny to hate Nickelback. So I still remember this. Somebody thought it'd be funny to put the Nickelback, this was a platinum album they had up in the hallway. right next to the garbage. So like it was the garbage and then the Nickelback album. So I'm like, all right, that's a funny joke.
That's hilarious.
And then,
Perfect.
Right. And then like a week went by and it was
Where it
still there. I'm
belongs.
like, all right, like the joke's over, guys. It's been a week. And then it was a month. Then it was 3 months. So it went from like funny to, all right, it's less funny to now I feel bad. Now I literally
wouldn't.
Did you kidnap Nickelback just to save him?
I did. I picked up the album. I said, you know what? I can't take this anymore. And I put this huge platinum thing.
That's what I was going to say. I just like when I just dropped it in the garbage. Right where it belongs.
Finally going home, buddy.
Yeah, like
Plastered
you're
right
on your
in my
way.
office. There it was, Nickelback's album, and I had it up there for years until Levac's daughter, like, she's like, you know, this Nickelback band is like kind of good. I'm like, oh god, she's too young. She doesn't know. I'm like, you know what? Take it. You'll find out.
Yeah.
One day you're gonna go to your room and see a Nickelback album, and then be mad at yourself that you put it up there. You gotta learn, kid. You're a teenager. Yeah.
Next satellite, we like send out to deep space. It's gonna have a Nickelback record on it. That's that same Nickelback record.
What was that video game
to
that
get
they
rid of
buried
it.
in a
Exactly.
landfill?
So as far away as possible.
What was that video game they buried in a landfill? An Atari game? Like, oh man, I
it
keep
Dicto?
destroying conversations.
That's good though. You should know this if you're going to bring it up. But
I don't.
it wasn't Tank.
Was it
Dig
E.T.?
Dug?
What about Pitfall?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I feel dumb now.
Let's taste this. because
Yeah,
I'm
well, they
dying.
already drank theirs.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I
they
drank
did?
mine.
Damn it.
Yeah, we already
No,
drank
I still
ours.
have a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I
shoot.
still got mine.
No, I joked. I said it tastes like Luna's. It actually tastes pretty good.
Well, it's because there's a little cherry juice in it.
Actually, there's not. So we opted. So usually it comes garnished with a Luxardo cherry, which we drop through. So you do get a little bit of cherry juice.
You put
but
some cherry juice in,
But
definitely.
instead of putting cherry
Jaeger.
into these shot
They did
glasses,
Jaeger.
that totally would have screwed up the
it's
balance.
just the sweet vermouth.
It is just the Punti
And-
Mace and then Angostura and then Overholt Rye.
How much bitter did you put in?
How much?
Just like,
I would call it 2 dashes.
okay, perfect. Just curious.
Very good. Very good. I like
It's
it.
awesome. It's a
good.
great traditional.
So this is your traditional Manhattan.
Yes.
It's
Wait, did
excellent.
you make these individually, or did you just make it and then you?
One big
Made
one.
in a
and
big
poured it out,
mixing glass.
So they're all the same.
They're all the same.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm sorry. Nick's has pickle juice in it.
Trick me into saying I like pickle juice.
It's an excellent traditional.
You win this round.
So my mom used to try to do like to get me to eat foods that I didn't like sneak it into something. But then like I would always know because she'd act so guilty. Like she knew that she put something in my food that she knew I didn't like, and like would be like looking for my reaction for this food that I eat all the time. So I was like, I know something's up.
Like,
Like, I know
Mom, why you
put
look at
something
me
weird
eating
in
right
this.
now? She'd be
Yes.
staring at you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Luckily, my
Good.
palate has grown.
Like,
since-
should I not eat this?
My grandmother used to mix raw egg into my milkshakes after dinner.
Ooh.
Why?
I think that's what they do at McDonald's anyway.
Probably.
Ew.
She thought that it was malnourished.
Malnourished.
Yes.
Malnourished.
It was just that I was a very skinny child. Then something happened.
Yeah, you grew up.
Weird.
My dad's been a vegetarian my entire life, like 35.
Wow.
He's like the old school vegetarian. So my mom would give me the same look. She's like, if I can just make one dinner, he likes fake meat. Let's stare at him right now. Okay. Yeah, I think he likes it. Perfect. I don't make pasta and veggies. So yeah, same thing with you guys.
So she's eating, like, she got him, like, the the impossible meat.
Yep. And then try to mix it in mine and be like, all right, let's see if this kid's going to eat it too. Make it easy. He'll never know the difference if he learns as a kid, right?
Did you eat it?
Yeah, sometimes I would,
See,
and
whatever.
sometimes I thought I was a spy. And I'm like, I know this is fake. I'm on to you, Mom.
You know what's funny is the beautiful Jessica, her mother's a vegetarian, so she grew up mostly vegetarian. But her mom's not, like, her mom's vegetarian because her father was vegetarian. Her father was vegetarian because of health issues. Like, his body would not break
Processed,
down.
like, protein or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Protein, yeah.
So he couldn't eat meat. So her mom grew up vegetarian, and for no reason, not because she just, that's just how she's always eaten. And then Jess was kind of the same way, but now that she's with me, I eat nothing but meat.
Yeah, and you know what it's like? You know when the Amish people, they get to go out on their own to decide
Yes.
what
Rumspringer.
Rumspringer. That's what I think about when, like,
I
you
was
know,
called it Rumspringer.
like somebody's like, I've never had meat and, like, sweets before, and then when they get their hands on it, I can just imagine them, like,
They're like, ooh, a zipper.
like covered in Reese's peanut butter cup wrappers and McDonald's, just being like, oh my god, I've been deprived for like 40 years of my life, and this is what, you know, this is what's out there. Like, my god, regular Coca-Cola.
I was
Oh my God,
vegetarian
buttons.
for a little while, and I broke veg when we were in like Kansas City. We got some
Oh,
barbecue.
you have to.
Barbecue. Yep, I was going to say probably ribs.
It shut my entire system.
I believe it. I believe it.
I was like,
Wasn't ready for it.
I felt like I was like meat drunk. It was insane.
I believe
was
it.
like, what's wrong with me? My
You
brain
only
is
ever been
broken.
meat drunk once before.
And it had to be the
Texas
greatest feeling
flavors
ever.
and-
Oh my
I think
god.
you should
that's so
term that, like, coin that term, meat drunk.
good. Yes.
Meat
Because I want to be that.
You know, what's it?
Not meat sweats.
Meat sweats. That's what I was thinking. Is meat sweats. Yeah.
No, meat sweats
There's
are
one
not
person
fun.
we know that gets really bad meat sweats.
Oh yeah, he talks about it all the time. Yeah.
No, meat drunk. That sounds awesome. Not meat sweats.
It was confusing.
Meat drunk is
and
good.
fun.
I get meat drunk every time I smell the meat.
There is a really good. So there's a vegan spot around the corner called Burrito. Chris Karp, who used to do the food over at Shop, which was fantastic, opened up a place that does vegan food, and it's also fantastic. And they actually just opened something like a kind of an extension of that called Industry Eggplant last week, which is late night vegan food.
Wow.
So now we're basically late night vegans again because
It's the only food available.
it's the only
when
food
we
available.
close.
But it's
Eggplant?
really, really good. Industry Eggplant. They're open from like 10
fried
p.m. to
eggplant?
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Fried eggplant.
I've got
and
a
like
fried eggplant
Good
sandwich.
stuff.
It's got a hash brown on it.
That sounds
like,
awesome.
like Brussels sprouts.
I could do that
like,
probably. Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, it's really good. So yeah,
Chicken
we're
of the woods.
Definitely
Chicken
on
of the
board,
woods.
but-
Yeah, see? That's vegan.
See, now you're sandwiched between vegan places because you got the Troy Beer Garden,
Yep.
which we did recently and
I
talked.
forgot they were just a vegan menu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bill's over there. He's deep frying and freezing chicken of the wood, Parmesan.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to try that. That sounds awesome.
That's
Come on,
That
don't give me that
sounds
look. It
really
looks
I'll do
good.
it. I'll try it. I'll try
Also
it.
chicken
Come
of the
on.
woods.
Try anything.
Chicken of the woods is good stuff.
So it's basically a mushroom that grows obviously in the woods and tastes supposed to taste like chicken. So much so that Bill was telling. And by the way, I want to apologize to Keegan over at Whitman.
Whitman?
Because we
Why
called
was-
him Tegan last week.
What was it? Tegan?
His name is Keegan.
Keegan. Why, did he call you up?
No, not at
See,
all.
he wasn't even listening. What do you got nothing to worry about. He didn't even know the difference.
But and also the way I found out is that remember I cut it out of the podcast, but I was trying to remember somebody that passed away in the industry. It was Tommy Keegan from Keegan Ales.
Okay, yes. They've been around for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So anyway, yes,
Yep, big downer there, thanks.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right, cool.
I like to
Cool,
just
let's-
destroy conversations.
Yep, totally destroyed it.
Yeah, where's that bomb sound that you played before? Is this
Wah,
time for
wah,
that?
wah.
There we go.
Wow, what are we coming back from? We better get some whiskey quick.
Yes. Well, we got another. We got one
Wait,
We
more.
got
So-
one more. So we just had the traditional, which
Yeah.
I've had, I will say this in my experience, people, you made a straight up like the way it's supposed to be made with, the proper amount of vermouth.
It is an old school Manhattan.
I
that is
find
for sure.
I find a lot of people that want Manhattans would balk at that much vermouth. Like
That's a
a
nice
lot of
baseball
people.
term.
Yeah, okay. People now approach Manhattans. I'm yelling at this. They approach Manhattans like they approach martinis with like, oh, I only want this much, vermouth. When in
There's a lot
reality,
of bad vermouth.
well,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of vermouth that doesn't mix. Like it's the
Okay.
play of these two particular, the particular type of spirit, which is mostly rye, but all ryes are different. And then you've got 1,000,001 different types of vermouth, and they're all different. So
yeah, I'm just saying that a lot of people prefer a lot less vermouth than most traditional recipes call for.
Have a shot of
Especially
vermouth.
martinis.
Sure.
Like when people will be like, I only want, like just a splash of vermouth. I'm like, what's the point? Why don't you just
exactly.
order?
Just drink it straight.
Why
Do
don't
you,
you
want, do you want a pint glass of gin?
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you just have it? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like if you're going to be like, yeah, just wave it over the top. I'm like, well, then just order.
What do we call that?
A martini?
No,
Dry?
when you just wave it over the top.
Like a super dry martini.
Well, we called it. There's a special name for it. It's
I
like the
forget.
smallest denomination that Kevin Mcquirkin,
A
by
molecule
the way,
or an atom? Up an atom.
a whisper of vermouth.
Oh, wisps. Yeah,
That's where you wave it.
See, you're trying to pull something on me. I don't even remember.
Where you wave it over the top. Yes.
Yes. You just say it on the menu. Just say it to the glass.
Yeah.
And it goes in.
That's like how LaCroix flavors their seltzer. Lime.
Yeah. See, that's.
No,
Well,
I'm
that's-
sorry. Wait.
Yes.
I think it should be a whole podcast just whispering. No one's cornered that
That's
market.
called
you know?
ASMR.
It's called
Actually, yeah, it's
ASMR.
very popular, and
Okay.
you don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I do want to talk about Kevin Mcquirkin real quick because obviously
I did see him. As a
Did
matter
you?
of fact, after we talked about him, I saw him.
He's got his own podcast now.
Yes. Yeah. You mentioned that you had seen him, and
Yes. Oh, that's he.
he came in. Yep.
Well, he's got a Giants podcast.
Yeah.
Does he?
It wasn't.
He does.
It,
Oh,
wow.
He was just having something.
It's actually really good.
Just about tall people, and they just break down the great giants in history. Andre, I'm sure, is the
Yes.
first podcast.
the Cardiff.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Those
These guys are 6'9", by the way, if you remember earlier. So get ready
they're
to be booked
small
very
giants.
soon.
I got a podcast just for you guys.
Actually, 6'10". We've grown.
Oh, yeah.
out here, yeah.
The vermouth is bumped up an inch, right?
That's right.
Thank you. I'm going to keep this pickle, by the way. I just don't want to chew it into the microphone for bad audio. Have some etiquette,
No, that's for the ASMR podcast next.
Man, these guys got some cornered markets here.
I don't even know what that means.
There's a market for anything. I think
Audio.
It's basically people like whispering things. Yeah.
See?
I was like, if I figured somebody's like, you sound like Bill
Wait, is that
Schweddy
ASR?
from the NPR skits on
That's right.
Saturday Night Live.
Yes, that's right.
Who played him? It was
Alec Baldwin?
Baldwin, yes. He'd be Bill Schweddy.
Yes.
And they would get on and they'd all talk
And he was like
in monotonous
Everybody
terms,
loves
and they would
my
say
They had the
really
Christmas
quiet,
one.
I really love your sweaty balls. They're great in the holidays. And they would say it like that, and they'd move off.
Oh, no, is this... Yes, I'm about to ruin this conversation, so I'm going to pull the plug right now and not do that.
That's okay. We don't have to do sweaty stuff.
I don't know who your listeners are, so I don't know what they're into. But.
Well, all 10 of them.
Apparently, Dave making fun of me, that's what they're really into.
Something's got to sell. All right, we're trying this out.
All right.
Remind us again what this is before we finish it. This is the new Manhattan.
Yeah, James, do you want to describe it? 'Cause
Tastes
you
like
came
maple
up
syrup.
with it.
Sure. It does.
Way to-
yeah.
way to
So,
blow it.
And that's mostly the Angel's Envy Rye. So this Manhattan is made with Angel's Envy Rye, which is a
Angel zombies?
Angel's Envy.
It's like aficionado.
Yeah.
It's tough to spell
Exactly.
and say.
Tough to say. I also have a speech impediment, so it doesn't come out super clear. But yeah, so Angel's Envy Rye, it's finished in rum casks, so that's what gives it a lot of the sweetness. But there's also a dash of black walnut bitters, along with the Angostura bitters, and we still use Punti Mace with it. But really, the Angel's Envy Rye is the star of the show here. Same proportions, just a better spirit and a little bit of black walnut bitters to give it that extra
Richness.
something that you taste.
I'm
there.
psyched now. All right, let's do this.
I really like Angel zombies.
Angel Zombie Rye.
Well, that's our spirit company name.
Oh, I see what you're saying about the maple.
Yeah, it tastes like a maple syrup.
Yeah.
I want to pour this on some pancakes.
It's probably, it just comes from the fact there's a lot of sugar in rum.
Oh,
They probably,
Yeah.
you're getting that probably I don't know if they heat the barrel up and caramelize the sugar in the barrel or whatever, but definitely that's where the sweetness probably comes from.
They probably make it, yeah.
That's actually a really good question. I do wonder. I should look into that. I wonder if they heat it up or if it's just like they call it like a wet cask when they do it in like sherry casks.
Yeah.
And, it's still
And
completely
it goes
saturated.
into the wood, comes back out, goes
Yeah.
back in many times depending on the humidity and the
Breathing.
temperature.
Yeah.
This is
Yes,
quite
breathing, I think it's
sugary,
called.
But it's delicious.
But it's not like it's got the maple hint of flavor, but not that super sweetness of maple. Like it's not like you're doing a shot of maple syrup. It's like
I think it's more
you're
on
doing
the nose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You smell it?
Yeah.
It smells like brown sugar or something.
brown sugar.
Yeah.
That's what I made caramelized onions the other day. And,
I love caramelized onions with sherry.
And no, I just used like black pepper and brown sugar, and it really came out like really. Where I think I stole it from was what's his name, Ben from the Doghouse.
Okay.
Because I made some
Shout out to Ben.
sliders.
Yeah, he's the man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I made some sliders at home last night, and I wanted because their sliders have just mayo and just caramelized onions, and I was like, you know what? My friend brought over Scott a white onion. I go, you know what? You guys, we got some time. I'm just going to sit here and cook them low. I'm just going to throw some sugar and some pepper, and I cooked them in just regular olive oil, and it came out like, oh, you get that onion flavor, but it's like a sweet onion.
Yeah.
It's just that's really the key. Like I was going to put some sherry wine in. I'm like, you know
That's
what?
what
I'm
I
just going to
normally
do it. I'm just going to do it the way I'm just going to do it with the pepper and the brown sugar. It comes out fantastic.
I like
Now
a
I'm
sherry with a little bit of
I was
garlic.
gonna say I'm so hungry now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Some onions.
Yes, but there's definitely a sweetness, even though you're right, it's not as sweet. There's definitely like a sugary. You didn't put any like simple syrup in or anything like that.
No.
No. Yeah, it's incredible how this rye stands on its own really well. I mean, you're really mostly tasting the rye here. The other
Okay.
stuff is just kind of there to like enhance it, but
Yep.
it's still very very boozy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I like it's definitely an improvement over the classic style,
Well,
but it doesn't
alright.
taste that much different. Like, that's the thing. Like you only really
Well,
change the one and.
I mean, that speaks to really the diversity of whiskeys and rye. You can really get a lot of variation between.
Do you get people that ask for bourbon Manhattans? Like switch it up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about a perfect Manhattan? And I'm not testing you guys.
Not a ton of them, but we do get people that ask.
That's my personal. Actually, a perfect Rob Roy is my favorite.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
I think our other bartender made one of those the other night.
Is that a diner?
What? Wait,
I have no idea what that is either.
Perfect
Rob. I don't know.
Big boy?
a Rob Roy is basically a Scotch Manhattan, but a perfect Manhattan is both dry and sweet vermouth. So a perfect Rob Roy is both dry and sweet vermouth with Scotch, and I am a lemon. I like lemon with my perfect. It just seems it goes better. It goes better with the mixture of dry and sweet vermouth. Just like almost every Christmas time, I go over to my Uncle Ron's, and my two cousins are in town. So and he always has a big shaker of perfect Manhattans for the night before for Christmas Eve, and the whole family gets there. And my aunt makes this huge spread of food. I mean, she makes so much food that like we all could eat like 6 days in a row from all. It's just both her sons are in town. Everybody's in town. She's excited. She makes everything: wings, sausage and peppers. I mean, you name it, she makes it Italian-wise. It's everything. Awesome. And that's just, I look forward to going there. And my uncle's always got, for some reason, because he always makes it with Dewar's. I don't know if you guys are going to.
We have Dewar's.
He always makes it with Dewar's. And every year he comes up with this bottle where the label looks like it's from 1968. And it like literally is. And he literally has like a case of them downstairs from like his father that he keeps pulling out that are literally like 35 years old.
Wow. Dude, that's cool.
He just keeps showing up these old.
House for Christmas?
You're more than welcome. It's fantastic.
You're making it sound amazing.
It is, and I'm excited. I always look forward to those perfect Rob Roys.
I'm over 40 years old, and I was born nowhere near 1960.
I mean, I don't know if that's the exact date, but I mean, like every year he'll have the old bottles under there still. And I'll be like, look at all these old labels. I mean, these labels are older than I am. I'm 48. Like that's literally how long we've had them. Like he either inherited them from his great uncle who had a bunch of restaurants.
So your great uncle?
His great uncle, yeah, exactly, or whatever. Yes, and he would inherit a bunch of them from his different restaurants and stuff. That, he passed away, and he'd find them all, and he would just have like these old cases of liquor banging around. He's like, "Hey, listen, the seal's still on it. It's still good. It doesn't go bad. It hasn't been opened. And we'll always drink all those up for our Christmas Eve dinner.
I like Christmas Eve dinner. I like any dinner.
You just like dinner.
I do like dinner.
That's great. I should probably go get dinner. As a matter of fact, I think the love of my life is going to have dinner ready for me.
Before we wrap this up, and this has run pretty long, I do want to talk to Gaz a little bit more. Obviously, quickly we talked about Ben. How is it? Like I know that you've been doing some podcasts with Ben.
Yeah, Tuesdays, the Doghouse. Come visit us. Awesome time. I feel like Ben knows everybody. We talked about Kevin Bacon earlier in the podcast. Like Ben knows everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody mentioned, oh, you know Ben? I'm like, I 2 months? I mean, you guys feel like everybody knows him forever, but I'm there every Tuesday, 7 to 8:15, depending on how the night goes. So shout out to him. GodzillaMedia.com. Check out the website. Check out the podcast, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Bunch of different stuff. If you like sports, if you like pop culture, if you like gambling. We had guys on the other day. One of our new shows, Trav and Rigney, did the Hot Wing Challenge. It's hilarious. If you want to find out about careers, about business owners, media members, athletes, coaches, Getting There with Gaz is my podcast where we interview people kind of similar like this, where we find out the journeys, bar owners, everybody else, and then Gaz on the go, 30 minutes, all the sports talk you need. You don't need 4 hours anymore. 30 minutes, who's going to win the games, who are the big storylines. Godzilla Media, man. Excited for the future.
Hell yeah. And where can people listen to all these podcasts?
Apple, Spotify, just search Godzilla Media, Gozilla Media. Find out all that stuff there. Download, subscribe, rate, and review. It means a lot when you leave a review for me because I can see it and people know about it and all that stuff. So check all that stuff out.
We got 2 reviews. They're both 5 stars.
2.
Yeah.
I'll do this for you guys. I will leave a review if you guys leave me a review.
For sure.
I wouldn't even know how to do it, so I'm going to have to let him do it.
That's my job. That's my job.
I couldn't even get on our own podcast, I'm sure.
His job is to sign the back of the coasters.
Right.
Get to sign it, man.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants that. Sorry.
I always joke around since we got the coasters. Anytime you bring one of the coasters to 20 North Broadway and Dave will sign it.
Whoa.
Because it's famous now.
But I don't know why you want to do that. Seriously.
That's my Hall of Fame.
I was going to take one, but that's okay.
You should have got Wade. You should have got Wade Boggs. When
Well, I
he
know
was
these
around.
guys, so I'll drop some more off for them. I'll actually drop off for
this down the middle.
Oh yeah. So I don't believe in like business cards because I always just throw them away and people hand them to me. But I think these are a little bit.
Oh, that's
more.
right. You didn't have these the other day, but you
I never
said
have
you'd be bringing them.
I would love a signed coaster.
There you go.
I'm gonna
No,
nail
I
it to
didn't
the
feel
wall behind our bar.
See,
Where it'll live forever.
Should have brought a sticker.
Do you want my shirt to hang up there as well? I didn't bring anything.
I was going to ask about
Yeah.
the shirt. Where do you get the shirts? I like the shirts.
Proud sponsor, GraphTex. Check them out. graph-tex.com. Proud sponsor, Godzilla Media.
There we go. And where can people find your establishment?
Well, we are located at 409 Fulton Street in Troy, New York.
All right. And what about your social media and all that good stuff?
Yeah, we've got Instagram at Whiskey Pickle Troy. I
That's
think
our Facebook too.
it's our Facebook. Yeah.
But follow us on Instagram though. We really do most things on Instagram.
You know, it's funny. I find that Instagram is the more popular for what we're doing. Obviously, I do social media marketing for a living. For what I do at Rivers Casino, it works being on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I find for like what we do, like Instagram is like.
I am blown away by Instagram. I felt like an old radio guy. You guys see the pictures the kids are sharing? And I should be like a young person who embraces it, but when I hit the podcast in comparison to radio, and I see Instagram, I'm like, oh my God. Like, there are people who have no Facebook, no Twitter, just have Instagram, and that's a whole new audience, which is so exciting. And you guys already know that, but like seeing this is incredible. Yeah,
For sure. Dave, I was
I have
actually...
no idea what Instagram is. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Dave,
I
You
don't
like
have it.
MySpace.
Nope, I don't even know what that is. I'm not even going to lie to you. I have AOL, or is that what it was? The AOL? That's about it. That's my speed.
you have Jen.
Yes,
And Jen does a
yes, she
great
does it.
job
Yep.
with your social media.
Yep.
And whoever your social media person is too, which, by the way, you never, ever have shared anything that has to do with this podcast on your social media.
Somebody asked me the other day. I did get the name right.
Yes.
That was it.
Well,
They asked me where they could find it, and I
gave you
got the
some
name
stickers.
right.
Didn't I?
No, I got it right off the top of my head. I didn't need to
I
like
gave you
look in my
coasters and
pocket. I was
stickers.
like this. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, Capital Brew Podcast. No, I actually got it right on the first try.
So, Dave, the other day I was looking up the Whiskey Pickle on Instagram, and I was looking up Godzilla Media on Instagram. Was I hashtagging?
It's possible. You got up early. No one cares.
Nobody cares.
Can I ask you a question? Did you have to print out MapQuest?
I did
Transgate?
to get here. I did. I'm in the right place. Absolutely.
Actually, we don't know who you are. I'm not sure.
I don't know because there was no sign out front. I had to I looked around. I'm like, I think I'm
never
in the
will
right
be.
place.
That is-
but I don't have Instagram, so I couldn't
Rick.
find it.
Yes. That is a very good point. You guys need a sign.
No, we don't.
Okay.
No, I found it even without
Exactly.
Instagram.
It's
It's
like
amazing.
It's like a speakeasy.
The most low tech people can still figure out
Yep.
where we
It
are.
is true. It is very, very
Yep.
true.
Yeah, I found it. Exactly. I'm driving a 2002 Honda. Doesn't even have cruise control.
My suggestion: really small sign, like a post-it note.
It's
outside.
right there. I see it. It's on the mailbox.
It's on the mailbox.
There it is.
You
Perfect.
guys already stole my idea.
Sorry,
It looks like
guys.
it's written on a napkin and taped on there with
Marketing
Scotch tape.
geniuses.
It is definitely at least taped on there with Scotch
Yep,
tape.
I can
yeah.
tell.
You can see
Or
the
packing tape.
markers running.
Oh yeah. I don't think that's even a real
humidity.
Sharpie. It's like a knockoff Sharpie.
It's a dry
Crayola.
erase. They used a dry erase on a napkin.
That is the aesthetic we're going for.
It's perfect.
All right. Well, on that note, we are out.